Nick, do you want to talk through religious trauma today? If you do, say yes, and I'll bring you in here and we'll talk about it. Oh,
Hey Brandon, how hard is it to set up a live thinking about good trouble?
oh,
Hmm.
few son is here. Maybe we should bring few son in. Mainly just because I want to bitch at her.
Well, she wasn't able to do video last time, so maybe
Here, let's find out.
good trouble protest. Oh, good trouble protest. The lives aren't. I don't think they're too hard.
No, they're not.
Again?
They're really not. Okay, so you were wrong, Brandon.
Oh yeah, only audio.
Yeah, I'm in the bath again.
Again.
Yeah. Wendy knows this. Wendy's doing it on purpose.
Just
oh God, no. Oh heaven.
Just manipulate the bubbles to where it's like, you know.
Legit. Fusan, I have a question.
Yeah.
Why haven't you done Dirty Talk with Lawrence like on Friday? It seems like it's been.
Because me and Lawrence agreed that we were gonna do like a month off over the summer. Because I'm doing some things over the summer, like I'm traveling a little bit right now. I've had some personal things and a couple of like small surgeries and stuff like that I needed to get done, which is inconducive to doing Dirty Talk. But I'm gonna speak to Lawrence and do Dirty Talk. Maybe try and talk about getting back into it in the next couple of weeks or something.
Oh, okay.
Why?
Well, I mean, I don't want to like not pick up that slack when I can talk when we can talk about.
Oh, you couldn't fucking wait for that, could you? It's
yeah. I mean, I know a lot of kinky shit.
No, like I'm gonna talk to Lawrence about maybe doing an episode on Friday, this Friday.
Okay, cool. I miss
thank you.
No, I miss it.
Don't feel obligated to invite me on just because I'm in the chat.
Look, I know for a fact that Brandon has religious trauma. I have religious trauma. And I suspect that based on your life experiences that you may also have such trauma. And so no, I don't feel obligated. You know, people ask me this repeatedly. Like, how do you pick people to come into your live sessions? And I'm like, because I think the person has something to add. When I look at a person's profile, if they were smart enough to fill out the little text line or whatever, this or whatever. Okay, I'm gonna grab that person because that person has something interesting to say.
If I'm impeding, please tell me.
Oh my God, no, Evans, no. I can't imagine. Our conversation yesterday, I got a bunch of positive DMs about that, by the way.
Good. That's good.
So that to me is a profoundly positive sign. So
nice.
So, but you know, again, like getting people to talk about their trauma is really fucking difficult. Musings only has a little trauma from religion. Musings, a little trauma. Define a little trauma.
Little trauma.
Yeah.
Little.
That's always kind of relative. I mean, people go through different types of trauma, and even though we might experience the same thing, we may not deal with it the same way. You know what I mean?
Right. Well,
Yeah.
so here's a question. And again, full transparency, you can tell me to fuck off, and I don't give a shit. Like, what was your
Just
worst? What was your worst church experience? Because I have a really good one.
It was kind of a, I guess I would call it kind of a gay intervention.
all right, I'm not laughing at you. It's just ridiculous.
No,
It's ridiculous that those things even exist.
Oh, I know. I mean, I laugh about it looking back at it. It's yeah. Well, anyway, the youth pastor and his wife, they were very much, and I know your reaction, what your reaction is going to be to this next statement. They were very much into James Dobson and focus on the family. You know, his teaching was that was almost up there with the Bible. You know, I mean, that was right there, second in line.
Wow.
And I've heard you talk about Dr. Dobson. You know, some of what he has to say is intelligent. You know, he knows some things, but then there are other things that's like, well, I think we're going a little too far there. But yeah, they 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 thought they knew things. Well, when they first asked me about being gay, I told them I was bi because I thought maybe that would be a little better. You know,
distraction.
yeah, it's like, okay, I'm not completely gay. I'm, you know, because at the time, actually, I had a girlfriend, the only girlfriend I've ever had. But and the guy, the youth pastor guy, was like, "Well, I read that being bi is even worse. It's harder to convert someone from being bi than it is from being gay." It's like, oh, okay, well, um, I I don't know where that came from. Probably Dr. Dobson. I don't know. It was interesting, but no, they never, none of them ever. Basically, they never talked to me after that. You know, some of my friends and stuff were in that group, and yeah, they weren't the loving, supportive Christian people that they uh, claim to be, I guess.
Right,
This is
right,
it. This
right.
is it, isn't it? It's like the whole tenet of like Christianity, like the first tenet is that Jesus is the Son of God, right? And then the second tenet is forgiveness, right? If you repent or for whatever, you should be forgiven. But they are, I was saying this morning to my partner, they are the least like accepting people of like forgiving people, even for minor things. Like being gay aside, like even for little trespasses, they will hold that against you forever. They say you forgive you, but they never do.
Yeah,
No,
yeah.
they don't. Um, yeah, they really don't. Um, so my story about that is I've been through conversion therapy twice.
Oh, yes,
Mhm.
yes.
And the first time,
Didn't take, did it?
well, like here was the thing, like, you know, they I, I'm a biblically educated person, and I have a biblical understanding that most individuals don't have linguistically. And so, you know, this was one of those deals where it was early enough that I was not through that education. And so I was, you know, in the middle of, at the beginning or middle of that education. And so Yeah, that guilt, well, I wanted to say that. They didn't use guilt, they used shame. Do you understand the difference between guilt and shame? Yeah,
Yeah.
guilt says you did something bad. Shame is you're a bad
You
person
are
and
bad.
you are bad and here's why. And
Yeah.
so and then on top of that, so like for the first like 3 days of this shit, it was God hates you. It was that shame. But God made you and God hates you. And so, I can't say like the first time around that didn't really like it worked. I felt really bad. Um,
Yeah.
the hard part about that was that I became instantly suicidal.
Wow.
Um, Instantly suicidal because I was stuck in that whole viscera of um, if God made me this way, then why does God hate me?
Yeah.
And
Doesn't
so
make sense.
yeah, and so there was a shit ton of self harm that that happened because of that. Um, um, I was attempting to look something up because I wanted that. This is a reaction I want to find out. If you okay, yeah, uh, uh, yeah, okay. I wanted to be sure I had the reference. This will come later, but anyway. So the second time, and I'll just say this. Um, Court appointed because I live in a red state.
Yeah,
And
danke. Sorry, I was just talking to my partner.
oh no, no worries. Um, so court appointed. So I was forced into it again. And the second time around, I was just like, because they like for a day they did nothing but just on repeat the Levitican man shall not lie with man. And as a biblically educated person, I know what that passage says in the original Hebrew, and I can recite it. And so, like the first time the asshole, like my one-on-one counselor, like said this, and I went, yet kishet jabat barat amaros pigeon or whatever, and he was like, "How do you know that?" And I said, "Because I've been educated." And so he got the whole, I don't know if we can help you because I can't use God to guilt you.
And most of them go back to being gay anyway. Because
Yeah,
like a lot
yeah,
of the
yeah, yeah. That's a very common motif is that all the members of the ex-gay movement, as they
yeah,
called it, yeah, they end up,
gay.
going back to being gay.
Well,
Or, oh, what?
I was just gonna say you probably saw the movie Boy Erased.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes.
And of course,
Words
at the
of,
end of that, they say the founder, of course, later he was came out as gay and lives with his
Yeah.
partner and everything.
yeah,
Because he obviously like he went through the conversion therapy and he was doing all of these like conversion practices. And then like one night they found him in a gay bar. There was a whole documentary about it. Like he got caught in a gay bar. Like
Oh yeah, I
I
didn't
was
see the
thinking
documentary.
it's on
yeah,
Netflix.
Okay,
yeah. Here's the thing about that. The hallmark of conversion therapy is to not make you straight. Most uh, uh, Euclidean conversion therapy, it's not about making you straight. It's about guilting you over the fact that you are engaging in a queer relationship so that you will abstain and not commit that sin. You won't have gay, lesbian, or trans sex with people. If you don't do that, you're not committing that sin, but you're not necessarily straight. So I knew people in the program who it was like, I had two friends, and one of them was a lesbian and the other one was a gay guy, and they were married. And I literally looked at her one day and I said, you know, Becky, do you have sex with him? And she was like, no.
Oh,
No,
yeah.
I don't. Yeah, no, I don't. And I'm like, why not? And she said, because I'm not attracted to him. And I said, okay, so what the fuck do you do? And she's like, I don't do anything. I'm celibate.
God. Well, way to live.
And that's how I stay truthful to God. And I'm like, okay, fuck this shit.
But the thing is, in the process of that, you're not being truthful to God, right? Because you're not being who you are, and you are lying about yourself, and like in the pursuit of honesty, you're committing the biggest lie that you could ever commit, that you're straight and that you're happily married, because no good can come of that ever. No, for anybody. Everybody loses in that situation. Everybody.
Yeah, I 100% agree. I 100% agree. I was gonna tell you, by the way, Brandon. Did you ever see the movie Bros?
Yes.
I love that movie so much. But
I
you
saw
said
that in the theater.
bisexual. You said bisexual, and I immediately thought bi erasure. Oh my god, here we go. Oh my god, here we go. Oh, get this though. I made my kids watch that movie, and Gizmo was like, "Is it really like this?" And I'm like, "Oh yeah. If you go to a gay bar, like every one of those guys is not wearing a shirt, not wearing a shirt, and wearing a baseball hat." And it's yeah, or whatever. And so and then Gizmo's watching it, and then the dude wanted to be a chocolatier at the end or whatever.
Oh yeah.
Oh, why can't everybody do this? And I'm like, people try to do this. We don't all just fit into the fucking mold or whatever. So yeah, I've been through conversion therapy twice, and it sucked both times. The first time I got suicidal as fuck. I wanted to kill myself.
Yeah.
And then we got out of it and it didn't work. And the second time I was like, no, this is stupid.
So did you choose to go?
Yes. Well, okay, because I will say this. Very early if you read my biography, I hated myself a whole shit tons. I mean, I was doing things. I was putting myself into situations where I would experience a significant amount of harm because I was self-inflicting and self-torturing. And so, I had that voice in the back of my head that kept saying over and over again, if you just let me out, it wouldn't be that bad. If you just let me out, I can protect us. And I kept pushing that voice down and down and down. And the only way that I came to the realization that that's what the voice was, I will tell you this. Recently, I had a conversation with somebody, and you can't, you can't look at somebody. Therapists say this, and I didn't really believe it for a long time, but it's totally true. You can't look at somebody and say, you're gay. So, I had my friend Renee, when I was younger, and she would look at me and go, Wendy, you know that you're gay, right? And I'm like, you can't hear that. That goes over the head. I don't know. Um, and so, but as with the person that I had this conversation with recently, my therapist one day told me, well, when you go somewhere with your spousal person, do you want them to hold a door open for you? And I was like, yeah, I kind of do. And then, you know, when you sit down at a restaurant with the person that you love, do you want them to let you order first? And I was like, yeah. And then it was like, when you're with the person that you love, do you want them to grab and hold your hand? And I was like, yeah. And so those kinds of questions, iteratively over and over and over and over and over again, eventually leads you to the obvious conclusion.
I like the way you say, yeah.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
right.
Yeah.
And so my therapist did that to me. And then, do we all know who Jeffrey Marsh is?
No.
Jeffrey Marsh is like the most non-binary person that they could be and that I've ever seen. And they wrote a book called How to Be Yourself. And it's all about their non-binary journey. Um, and so I read that book and I got like halfway through it and I was like, I can't keep reading this, because if I keep reading this, and I got to the end of it and I was like, okay, that's what that is. So then I said, I'm a trans person. I went to my doctor. I signed my consent forms. I started taking massive doses of estrogen, a whole bottle right here. Um, and then, like 8 months into my HRT, I went off most of my antidepressant meds, my anti-anxiety meds. You know, I stay on my one SNRI or whatever, but um, for the most part, I'm not near as depressed as I was. So then all I had to do was just work through all the fucking traumas.
Mm. Yeah. Just
But some
work.
people, some people aren't so lucky. So the person I was talking to today, I said, like, I asked them the same questions I got asked, and they were like, "Oh, I never thought of it this way." And I was like, "Right. So what does that mean for you?" And they were like, um, "Okay, I've been thinking about this, and every time the thought comes up in my head, I've been dismissing it." And I'm like, "Right, but I don't think you can keep doing that." And this person was like, "No, I don't think I can." And so I told them, I think you have to go on a vision quest. Do you have to do you have to ask yourself, if all of this is true, then that only leads to one conclusion.
Ah.
If you keep suppressing and denying, it's going to have an effect on you.
Yeah.
You can only lie to yourself for so long.
Yeah,
It's just yeah.
because you wear so many masks trying to hide from the fact that there's this person. You take off the mask, I don't think you even realize who you were to start with. I wore so many masks when I was forced to acknowledge all of this shit. I looked at my therapist and I said, I don't know who I am. I have no idea.
I mean, in a sense, like I still wear like a shit ton of masks, like all of the time. Like there's just like there's so many. There's the person I am with the person I love. There's the person I am with my friends, like yourself.
Yeah.
There's a person I am at work who is completely opposite to me in almost every way, like in value in everything. Like it's just interesting, like how that works. Like, because like I had this thing where like if I was transitioning, I would be like completely free of like I just be myself, and there'd be no need to like compartmentalize like parts of myself and like be different people. And like I got to a point where I was like, actually, no, it's worse now than before I even came out. Like it's more, it's just more now. It's crazy. Like I don't think you ever stop wearing masks though. I think like completely. I think that you go through life and you know you adjust yourself that may be untrue to who you really are in some sense to the situations that you're in.
Right.
Does that make sense?
Yeah,
Yeah.
I think so too. I mean, I think it's very rare to find someone who is the same no matter what situation they're in. I
Mm,
mean, if you're in front of your family, you're going to act one way, and your partner is going to be another. If you go to church, you would put on a different kind of persona. I think that's true of most people.
mm,
Well,
mm.
because you're just compartmentalizing what piece of the pie
Yeah,
that you let
Yeah.
the people around you see. I mean, you don't treat people, um, people that I call friends, people that I care about. So everybody in this chat, um, there is a larger pie piece of me that you all get that does not include what she gets.
Mm,
But
mhm.
is that really a mask, or is that just my compartmentalization for what I share with other people versus what I don't with others? The
Right.
problem that I have with masks and asserting masks, and when Miranda said this in the chat earlier, like we see those masks now. That makes it a little bit easier to use the masking terminology, is that really it's just what I choose to share with who I choose to share it. One of my big issues with Gizmo's mom, Gizmo's birth mom, is that she lives in a world where incessantly I have to share everything with her by proxy,
That's
and I don't.
good.
I'm not in a relationship with this person. I care about that person. I want that person to be happy. I can't contribute to that happiness, but I care about that person and I want them to be happy.
Mhm.
But what data I share with them is because I want to share it with them, not because I have to.
That's it. That's it. And I think like for me, like um there's only one person in this world who knows who I am, like truly on a deep level who knows who I am. And that's my twin. My twin is the only person who knows who I am. Like
Right.
full stop. Um like Lena, my partner, is probably second to that. And that's because that's I volunteered that myself to that. Like I volunteered it.
Right.
Like, but nobody else does because like a recurring theme for me lately is like is that I've started to realize that like people don't have the right to everything you are. They're not you don't have an obligation to give everybody everything that you are. Least of all on the internet, right? So it's like
yeah,
yeah, I think like you're wise in what you're saying. Like if you're not in a relationship with this person, like that expectation that she has of you, um, like to share everything is just unreasonable and just like I don't want to say ridiculous, but it is kind of ridiculous. Like to expect somebody to that you're not with anymore to have access to every part of your life.
Right. Maybe they were entitled to that at one time,
Mm.
but that doesn't continue to allow them to have that sense of entitlement. And so really it's just a matter of how we compartmentalize what we share with other people.
Did
yeah.
Gizmo?
Oh,
No, sorry, Brandon. You go ahead.
No, I was just going to say mask. I think mask is kind of has a negative connotation to it, maybe,
Mm.
but it's still kind of that way. I mean, you do put on a different persona, and like you were saying, compartmentalize. Yeah, I mean, you could refer to it as wearing a mask, but it's not as a negative thing, like you're hiding yourself or something. You're just revealing a different part of yourself to a certain group or person.
Exactly. It's like, like the pictures I post on Substack. Do I look like that all of the time? Absolutely, I don't look like that all of the time. But like, that's what I use to make me feel better about myself, right? And I think in some senses we cling to those things, like those kind of masks, like in a sense, to make ourselves feel better and as a way of getting through life.
Right. No, Miranda's point, contextualization is the word that she used. And
Yeah.
that word is very true in this case.
Yeah.
Context.
Different context for different situations.
Yeah. Context doesn't necessarily mean that you're changing aspects of your personality. It's just how much of the context whoever's in front of you gets against who doesn't and why. And the fact of the matter is, there are people that don't deserve as much as you would give to them.
Situational, like it's situational. Like, you're in situations where, like, say if you're an outgoing, funny person, and then like obviously if you're at a funeral, you can't be that person. Like you have to, you have to be like you have to adapt to situations and and adapt yourself according to those situations.
Yeah, yeah, I agree with that 100%. I really do. Um, yeah, I agree with that.
You sure?
Yeah, well, I do. One of my larger focus issues very early on um, was gaining identity. And I was fighting an identity that I was completely unaware of. Didn't know what the fuck it was. It was just some random voice in the back of my head. And I went from extreme to extreme, trying to satisfy the complement of that thing that was in the back of my head. And so when I was a kid, I had a mother who was beating the shit out of me and manipulating me and other things that I will never talk about in a live session
Mhm.
because they're just too painful. And so then when I came out of that and I got away from it, then it became, well, who the fuck am I? And how the fuck do I get there? And so then it was just one, and literally, I mean, it was like a deck of 52 cards. Pick one up off of the top of the deck. Is this it? Go for like 3 weeks? No, that's not it. Go to the next one. Turns out the card that I was looking for, I will affectionately call it the Queen of Spades, was at the bottom of the fucking deck. But by then, I mean, I gone through visceral amounts of drinking. I mean, there were nights I downed an entire bottle of scotch, didn't even think about it. There were numerous amounts of self harm. I was a martial arts competitor. I picked people 2 and 3 weight classes bigger than me to compete with because I didn't give a shit. So there was a visceral amount of pain. There was a visceral amount of suffering. And then when that didn't work, I went to the next addiction, just on down the line. And, the thing that I'm thankful for is that I don't have like a strong addicting personality. So I could do those things for a short period of time and then stop doing them because I wasn't really addicted to those things. I was trying to change the reality that was around me. And so, you know,
I'm kind of the same way. I'm glad I'm not. I didn't have a propensity for alcoholism
yeah,
because that could have. I wanted, I wanted to turn off reality, escape what was going on in my head and who I was. And so yeah, if I would have been introduced to drugs early on or something like that, then it could have gone down a much more dangerous path.
Well, I think when you're younger, you're more susceptible to that, and there's a reason why. The prefrontal cortex of your brain does not stop developing until your mid-20s.
Right.
And so these young kids who get addicted to things and they go down that road, it becomes, that's an abstraction. You don't understand the abstraction behind what you're doing or how that abstraction can affect you. I mean, when I was 23, I went through 2 months of smoking Camel and filters, 2 packs a day. And then after 2 months of doing that, I stopped.
Yeah. All my addictions formed before the age of 25.
Yep.
All of them.
Yeah.
All of them.
Yeah. I would surmise that a large number of people who experience addictions, even later in life, those are addictions that happened chemically earlier in life.
Yeah. Yeah, it's crazy. It's crazy.
Well, it's just a factor of being human. I mean, I had a professor in college who looked at an entire classroom of people dead in the face. It was a deviant psychology class where he literally said the chemical brain of a 15-year-old literally has the chemical flexibility to commit murder abstractly and without remorse
Yeah, I can
because of
believe
the
it.
byproduct of brain chemicals
Yeah.
and puberty that are going on at that time. And so it was like, well, why the fuck doesn't that happen more? And that's because that's a child.
Yeah.
There are warning signs that happen when those feelings build up over time, and those people get treated. So when you have parents that don't give a shit about that, that stuff like Columbine High School happens.
Yeah, fucked.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, like when I was 15, like as most of you are probably aware, like I was kicked out of my house when I was 15.
Right.
Like, and my family disowned me, and I could have killed someone then. Like when I look back now, like in my head, I'm like I was so like emotionally distraught and so angry that like it scares me like how easily that could have happened. Like because I don't know if I should say this, but like I was also working when I was that age as well, and I was quite like I had some pretty fucked up people as clients. And I'm thinking to myself, if I could have just snapped and I could have killed someone so easily, man. Like I could have just gone, you know?
Yeah. I mean, I can't think of the number of times in my later teen years. Of course, in my later teen years, I was dealing with a huge impulse control problem. And that was because of biology. When I was younger, I was a low to zero testosterone child. And the way that got treated was to put me on testosterone and human growth hormone injections for 3 years. And it was that in 3 years, I grew 3.5 feet. So on top of that being viscerally painful,
Yeah.
just that growth stretch, but also too, the hormonal imbalance that it caused. I had horrible rage issues.
Yeah.
And it fucked my chemistry up entirely. When I started HRT and I was doing blood tests every 2 weeks or whatever, I'd have one blood test come back, my testosterone was like 15. I'd have another one come back, and I'm talking consistency in my medications, and it would spike up as high as 400 or 500 because of what they did to me because of what they did to me when I was a kid. And so, yeah, I don't. That's why I say, in my 20s, I was not a great person. I really wasn't. I did a lot of really bad shit.
How tall are you now, Wendy?
I have shrunk, thank you, to 6'5".
You're an inch taller than me.
Yeah, yeah.
I shrunk as
Yeah,
well.
yes. I was by the time I was 14 and a half, I was 6 foot 6 and a half,
Wow.
and I weighed about 227.
Uh,
And now 4 years into HRT, my size 15 shoe has shrunk to a size 14 shoe, and I have lost about an inch of height.
yeah, I've lost about an inch of weight as well.
Yeah. But I'm a tall girl. I mean, I know this.
Yeah, my bones are fucked as well. That's the thing.
Yeah. I, so let's not even talk about bones. I mean, yeah. I walk around with 15 pounds of titanium in my body. There's a reason for that.
Oh, you've got it too.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. Well, I have a partial replacement, 2 rebar in my upper right leg, 2 rebar in my lower right leg, 8 pins in my foot, 2 pins in that knee, 2 pins in my elbow, and a plate in my lower back.
Yeah, that's fucking hell. That's crazy.
Yeah, but I can still look elegant in a dress.
That's
So.
right. You tell
And
him.
that's what's important.
I still have a very fuckable ass.
I mean, true.
Brandon, do you have a fuckable ass?
I've been told so.
Okay. Okay.
Not asking me.
I already know that question. I've seen a picture of your ass.
Where?
Your red dress pic where you
Oh
were
yeah, yeah,
bent
yeah.
over. I was like, oh crap. That's really nice. I wish I had a butt like that.
It's probably the only thing that I haven't had some kind of operation on.
I'll go back to my wish. I just wish I could have all of my surgeries done like in a day, magically, automatically.
Yeah, yeah. Mine have taken. I'm
Right.
done with them now, though. Like, I'm done. I'm finished. Can't do anymore. I've been
Yeah.
in so much pain recently, like in my face. Like, even the last dirty talk I did with Lawrence, I had to go and look in like a babushka because like I didn't want like because my face was swollen at the side and I didn't want to like to show it off and my eyes were all puffy, so I had to wear fucking sunglasses. I looked terrible. And so like when I saw that back, I was like, yeah, I'm not doing this anymore.
Right. No, I don't think that you're wrong. Um, my plastic surgeon's like, look, if I could like dually up your cheekbones and narrow your chin a little bit, and then put on a pair of double D's on your chest, I think you'll be happy.
I'll certainly be happy. The
Well, if
surgeon will
you're
certainly be happy.
yeah, if you're tall like me, then you need a larger chest to support a large person.
Yeah, yeah, it's true.
Yeah. So anyway,
Big tits.
yeah, big boobs. Those things that Brandon has never seen. I can't believe you had a girlfriend and
Now, no, I've seen boobs in real life, just not a vagina.
You're scared
okay,
of them. You're
okay,
petrified of them.
okay. Would it scare you if you did?
It wouldn't scare me. It would just be like, I don't know.
You've
All right,
seen pictures of them, though.
let me ask you a delicate question. Let me ask you a delicate question. Because I have done this, I will ask you: would you date a trans guy?
Good question.
I've thought about that. I'm more open now than I was maybe like a few years ago.
Right.
I don't know. It would be I don't know. I'm not sure. I mean, I would try it probably. I would
Yeah.
I would give it a chance.
Can I add like an extension onto Wendy's question?
Yes.
Like, if the trans man had bottom surgery, would that sway your decision?
Yeah, I think so. I mean, I know it. Maybe it shouldn't. Maybe, I mean, for me, sex is a more of a higher on the priority list than some people, I guess. Because some people, are maybe asexual or not. They don't put much importance on it. And I'm more of a sexual being, I think, and so yeah, I think that would play a part.
So I have an interesting addendum to this. I explained to somebody recently because they asked me, they were like, as a trans woman, how do you interact physically? And I'm like, that's very simple. I'm a bottom. Don't touch it. Don't go near it. And then the person said to me, they said, "Oh, well, you know, what does that do to you physically?" And I was like, "Oh, you want to know the answer to that question?" And I said, "Sure." Um, I don't. Uh, I have reached the point in my transition where I don't output fluids anymore. And this person was like, "Oh, you don't?" And I'm like, "No, I don't."
Weird for me because I kind of do. On occasion.
Very, very minuscule, very, very minuscule, but not any to be aware of. And so,
Not even like a reach around. I find it hard to believe.
but like from Brandon's, I'm going to say this, Brandon, you could tell me to shut the fuck up. I don't know what the fuck I'm talking about. But for most gay guys that I know, and I know a few, they're like, if it were artificial, it wouldn't matter how good it felt if I didn't have the fluidity after, because you can feel that. And that becomes, with a trans guy, you'll never have that. I mean, you won't. Or if you do, it's not that. It's some other artificial means. And so that's the trade-off between being a trans guy versus a trans woman. Trans guys secondarily have it infinitely easier than trans women. And here's why. A trans guy can get top surgery done very quickly. He can go on testosterone. He can grow body hair, facial hair. He gets vocal changes like that.
Absolutely.
Yeah. And then they get to the end of the road, and the end of the road is bottom surgery. And there's no way to physically produce something that would make for a functioning organ. So their build up to the end of the road is like very quick, and then they sort of stop.
Crash.
And then come down. Chaz Bono has been a trans guy for a long time, and he said, "I'll never have bottom surgery. I just won't, because it's not the medical technology is not there to give me what I want." And so, versus trans women like me, it's like, you got to have boob surgery, you got to have facial feminization surgery, you have to have vocal training, you have to have orchiectomy, you have to have vagioplasty, you have to do all this other, So that road is much slower. But then once you get to the end and you go through vagioplasty, that's beautiful enough and attractive enough that somebody like Carolyn Cossey can do a full Playboy centerfold and nobody be aware that she was ever previously the other gender, the other sex.
Yeah, But I would never have a vaginoplasty, you know. I'd
Yeah,
never have one.
and two, yeah, that's a personal preference.
Mm.
There are a lot of trans girls I know that won't do it.
I would lose a shit ton of money, Wendy.
Well,
Truthfully, I would lose so much money, like, because that's the whole thing, like that trans fetishization, right? Because like, if you've got if you've had bottom surgery, like in their minds, well, you may as well just go fuck a cisgender woman, right? Like they do it for the dick. Like that's, I mean, don't we all? But like they do it. They do it for the dick. You know, they only come to see me because of my dick. So
right.
there'll be no like, and plus I don't really want it anyway because like anyone I know's had it. It's had horrendous issues like infections and it's just not something I'm interested in. To ask a personal question, Wendy, have you had it? Bottom surgery?
No.
No.
I'm more of a bottom, so that also would have an impact.
Not laughing at you guys.
Oh no.
Okay.
And I like dick. You know,
right.
It's hard not to hard. It's difficult not to. I don't know. It's difficult to get rid of that attraction. You know.
Yeah, I mean that's true. Like I'm sort of in a position, you know, like weird position now because a lot of my previous partners have been other trans women, and like my partner now is cisgender, and like that whole thing with like the vagina and stuff, like it's actually a fairly like, believe it or not, it's actually a fairly foreign concept to me. Like I'm actually like, in a sense, not virginal in that respect, but like I basically might as well be because like the whole thing is new, and it's like it's very strange for me to like to readjust myself, like especially someone who is a bottom. Like it's weird. It's weird.
Yeah.
So yeah, I understand. I think what I said relates to what you said, Brandon, but I'm not quite sure.
Yeah. No. Yeah. I get it. It would be hard to make that adjustment.
Well, but we're all talking about a preference consideration.
Yeah.
I mean, if you're just talking about preference consideration, then you should express the way you want, and you should just be able to love who you want. It's not but there's not a judgment there. Certainly not for me. I know a number of trans women who have been transitioning for 10 years, never got bottom surgery, or wouldn't even consider it, or wouldn't, that goes back to there's these people that try to take orientation and gender and they try to shove it together.
Yeah, that's what we said yesterday.
Yeah, you can't do that.
Yeah, you can't. It doesn't make sense. It's like, you know, like you can't assume somebody is a certain way because of their gender. We don't like. I say we don't do that as a society, like with cisgender people, but actually, yes, we do. Like, very much do. If a man can be effeminate and for all appearances could be like appear as a twink, but is actually straight, but we make that assumption as a society, not as individuals, that that person must be gay. It's just not fucking true, man. Like, it's not always true. Like Brandon, for example, he's not gay.
No, I mean, countless times that, oh, Brandon's gay.
Really?
What?
Um,
What?
Countless times did I have run into intolerant people who have said, "You're in a relationship with a woman," and I say yes, and they say, so you're a straight man, and I'm like, no,
Ooh,
you
hello.
know,
It's not
yeah,
very nice.
yeah, no. And so, I mean, I don't reveal to those people that my partner is also a trans person, but um, you know, that's my business, not theirs. But yeah, I've had people tell me, so you're basically a straight heterosexual man. I'm like, no.
Basically, that's bullshit.
Yeah, yeah. It just allows them to feed into that narrative because they're trying to do that, and you're not supposed. You really shouldn't.
Yeah, Karen Brandon's not gay. He's not gay at all. That's a
Brandon, I'll
blasphemy.
just say this: if you're not gay, I don't think there are gay people.
There's no such thing.
He's just
Right,
he's just
right,
he's just got a
right,
little too much airing issues.
right. Miranda, straight with extra steps.
With that extra movement.
I saw Brandon handing out Bibles the other day.
Look, if you're gonna do that,
Focus on the family focus on the family pamphlets.
Yeah, family values. That's Brandon's core principle.
oh,
Yep.
Miranda, my
Yeah.
my cis wife would be the first to say that I express sexuality in a feminine way. Oh, Dana, you have a chance with Brandon. It's one in a billion, but there's
But
still a
there is a chance. Anything's
You've got about
possible.
you've got as much chance of getting a drink in a mosque. Dan.
Fusan, one day in the future we're gonna pick that apart, right?
Who? What?
Yeah, somebody's gonna come in here and say they have Islamic trauma because of the growing up or whatever, and then I'm gonna have to pull texts off the wall, and we're gonna have
Fucking Islamic trauma. Don't give me that
yeah.
shit. Like, do you know what I mean?
Well,
Like,
so I have a great story about that, by the way. Brandon, you're gonna laugh. So my cousin, first time I've told you this, my cousin is married to a Turkish woman, and so
yeah,
um, they fell in love in
poor guy.
college. They fell in love in college, and he called me up one day, and he was like, "When do you have a problem?" And I'm like, "Okay, what's your problem?" He's like, "I'm in love with a woman," and I'm like, "That's a problem? Are you gay?" Yeah, no, no, no. I'm in love with the wrong woman, and I'm like, "So pick the right one. Why the fuck are we talking?" And he says, "No, it's like this." And so it turns out that she was betrothed to be married to another guy. And
Mm,
he had to go to the dad and ask the dad to rescind the betrothal. And so I was like, okay,
yeah.
uh, okay, so we have to fly to Turkey. And he's like, yeah, I'm, I don't want to go alone, and I don't know anybody that's international that is as international as you are. So go with me. And I'm like, okay. And so we flew to Ankara and we went
No.
to her house.
In
And
Ankara.
yeah,
Okay.
and yeah, like, and I was really like, this was long before I transitioned. So it wasn't like a queer thing for me or whatever. I was wearing cargo shorts and, my sandals and my cool t-shirt or whatever. I mean, it wasn't like anyway, go to her parents'
Oh,
house. And the mom is this, I would say, other than you, Fusan, I would say probably the more beautiful Turkish woman I've ever seen. Gorgeous.
mm, mm.
And so she brings us in the house. And she gives us, tea or whatever. Uh,
Right.
or I had coffee. But anyway, and we sat down in this big room, and the dad walked out, and the dad was huge, really big guy. He had this he had this very angry look on his face, and he sat down, and I looked over at my cousin and I said, "We're gonna get killed right here, okay? He's gonna kill us." And so he sits down and he looks at my cousin. He says, "You want for me to remove betrothal, yes?" And I was like, "Here we go. Don't kill me. Don't kill me. Don't kill me." And so my cousin says, "Yes, I'm in love with your daughter, and I want to marry her." And so I'm like, "Okay, let's not get killed. Let's not get killed." And so um, he's he picks his hands up and he says, "Engineer is you, shopkeeper. Engineer is you, shopkeeper. Is okay." And he gets up and he walks off, and I'm like, and so the father rescinded the betrothal, and so my cousin had to work through that.
That's pretty big deal, you know. Like,
Yeah,
like
right.
you
Well,
interrupted an arranged marriage, Wendy.
yeah, yeah. You're fucking up an arranged marriage. That's not good. And so, well, here's what happened. Like a year later, the wedding happened. We did the wedding in Istanbul, which was really, really beautiful. I drank way too much, and I'm very hazy about what happened while we were in Istanbul. I
I'm
think,
hazy about 20 years of Istanbul.
yeah, I think I ended up in a whorehouse. I'm not sure. Maybe I don't remember what happened. But
I
anyway,
knew we had met before.
so so before the wedding, my cousin's brother, who was like the adventurer of the family. This kid was 26 years old. He'd climbed Everest twice already. Like he did yeah, like we all knew something was gonna be the deal, that like he was gonna get killed somehow, and it was gonna be some way out there, fucked up, bizarre way or another that he was gonna get killed. So 2 months before my cousin got married, he disappears. Like disappears off the face. Like no one knows where my cousin is. Um and so um you know, we all fly out there, my dad, my mom, and my brother and sister. We're in Istanbul, and we get off the plane and we walk into like the bazaar area right outside the airport. And this dude in a white suit with a really thick goatee and a red fez hat. By the way, I did not know that red fez hats were something that people in Turkey still wore.
I haven't seen anybody ever in my whole life wear a fez. Like, I mean, I am a Turk, so like,
Right. I I never knew if that was a thing or not, but apparently it was. And he had a really dark tan. And he walked over to my dad and I and looked at my dad and said, "Good day, Mr. Bond. May I show you to your hotel?" And looked at him and I was like, "Adam, is that you?" Like my cousin. And he was like, "Yeah, I've been here for 2 months. I know where everything is. We're gonna have a good time."
yeah, that's cool. That's
So
funny.
yeah, he had like taken off 2 months from his job. By the way, he was a Wall Street trader.
uh,
And so he went to the president of his company and said, "I need 2 months. My brother's getting married or whatever." And so he like that was the thing that he did. And so um, you know, and yeah, we had it was a crazy time. It was a great time. It was a crazy time. There's many things I do not remember that happened in that week.
yeah,
Um, but the very sad thing about my cousin was that um, amidst all of that happening, he he died on 9/11.
that's fucked, man. I'm
Mm.
sorry.
Yeah, because was in he was on the 105th floor. of the North Tower, because he was a Wall Street investor, and so my cousin harbors pretty tremendous amount of trauma related to that, and I had to sit down with him and work through it, and it took me a couple of years, but I worked through it with him, and then he felt better about it, because I will tell you, for instance, he felt insanely guilty that he'd married the woman that he loved, and he attached, Islamic trauma to her. Yeah, Islamic trauma to her, or whatever. But
Yeah, that's shit. That's
yeah,
shit. I'm sorry
yeah,
to hear.
yeah. And so, right,
Right.
so, but like that's the thing. Like, if people come in here, someone's going to come in here and they're going to say, "I have that trauma," and we're like, "Okay,
Yeah, but that's also like, with all due respect, right? Like
yeah,
Al Qaeda, and ISIS, and the Taliban. All of these groups are not representative of Islam. They and the fact of the matter is that any imam who is not an extremist will turn around and say that these people are not true believers.
yeah,
Because in Islam, it expressly forbids the killing of non-believers,
yes,
right? It expressly forbids the killing of innocents, right?
yes,
These people, like, and we've been paying for that shit ever since, right? We've been paying for that ever since, right? Anybody sees a woman in burqa or in a hijab or something like that, like, they assume that that person, like, even privately within themselves, assume that that person is somehow a terrorist, right?
yes,
Yeah.
That is just like, we have been paying for that ever since, and not just Muslims, like Sikhs, for some reason, they see people with a turban and they confuse the fucking religion, and they get paid. They get conflated with it. Anyone who has brown skin and an accent, you know, less these days, but for about 20 years after 9/11 was responsible, like, somehow for 9/11 in the eyes of America and other countries affected by Islamic terrorism. Right? Like, I hate to even call it Islamic terrorism, because it's just terrorism. Because they may say that they're Muslims and they're true believers, but I read the Quran and all the hadiths back to front, right? And I can't find any place where it calls for terrorism. They call it jihad, right? Jihad is an order given by God, right? So if you assume, right, the God's given you jihad and he hasn't actually spoke to you, firstly, that's blasphemy in a second, because you're assuming that, like, you're God's spoken to you and he hasn't. And secondly, it's fucking delusional, because God doesn't speak to anybody. Right? Like,
exactly. Fusan, I would like to tell you that on the
yeah,
other side of the monotheistic coin,
yeah.
with Christians,
Mm.
Christians have Branch Davidians and Jim Jones and every other kind of Christian extremist that thinks,
Jim Jones is Jonestown, right? In
yeah,
Guyana.
that was,
Yeah, yeah,
Christian nationalists
yeah.
David
are,
Koresh.
yeah, David Koresh, the Branch Davidians,
Waco, yeah.
yeah, all religions have extremes, and yeah, I mean, when I see a person who is a Muslim, I see, but from my experience, a kind-hearted person.
That is the peace is the forefront of Islam. Like, I'm not, like, don't get me wrong, I'm not a Muslim. Like, culturally speaking, yes, I am. Like, culturally, that's how I was
Right.
raised, and I believe in some tenets of Islam. I don't believe in all of it, because a lot of what in the Quran is, it makes women second class citizens. Any woman who has a period is dirty. Like, like I I don't believe in that side of Islam, but I take a lot of what Islam says in terms of peace and how we should treat other people, even those who aren't believers, and and go through life with good intentions, and a kind heart, which is the core of Islam.
Yes.
It's what the Prophet Muhammad taught people was that peace is the only way forward, and we to get to God or to get to heaven, and we call it Jannah. Yes, to get to those places, we have to go through life with good intentions and not killing people and not hurting people. So, like, we are a religion of peace. Anyway, guys, I have to go because I have to eat because it's getting late here.
Oh, it's
So,
dinner time for son. Go eat dinner.
yeah, I'll see you guys later. It's really nice chatting to you. Lots of
Always.
love.
Nice to talk
Bye-bye.
to you.
Yep.
Pleasure.
All right. Well, I have Panda, so.
Oh, what?
Oh, I'm sorry, but my Panda orange chicken, Brandon, is way more attractive than your bot. Plus we went over like 15 minutes, but anyway, Brandon,
Oh, well,
thank you.
I need to eat too anyway.
I'm just gonna say, like, this was really a very good experience. So I just have to ask, like, if I did this a couple of times a week, would you join in these discussions or not?
I would, yeah, if I should be able to. I mean, depends
Well,
on.
I normally just like try to hit right at lunchtime so that I don't like get in the way of other people's stuff or whatever. But I'm gonna,
Yeah, and that's hard too because I've tried to do. I did a live the last couple of Thursdays, and a couple of the people that I like to listen to also had theirs going on Thursdays. So I was like, oh, it's so hard to
well,
coordinate.
here's the
And
thing. Like, if you're gonna coordinate a live, just tell me when it is.
yeah, well, I haven't figured out a. I'm trying to work on that. So tomorrow
Yeah,
I'm doing it at noon, but last week I did it like at 1. So I don't know. I'm just trying out different things, see where I can fit it in and not.
yeah. Miranda and I have talked about this, I think, and then Sarah and I have talked about this, and I've talked about it with Lawrence and Dana maybe too. I don't know. I can't remember, but anyway, but trying to position like the reason I go at 7:45 at night is because that's right after Marielle Trump is done.
Oh, yeah.
But then she's not doing lives as much anymore now. So it's like, do I back up to try to fill that space? I'm not sure. But anyway, but yeah, if you work out like a defined schedule, just let me know when, because I'll show up.
All right.
Working or not, I'll show up and I'll talk to people. I'll say a bunch of gay shit too, by the way.
I probably will too. Even though I'm not gay, I tend to say gay shit.
No, gosh.
It just comes out. I don't know why.
Brandon, don't say that because it takes my hope away. I don't
There is a chance.
No, there is a chance. All right. Well, Brandon, thank you. And thanks everybody else. Don't get in any trouble out there.
Well,
Yeah, we'll see, right?
yeah.
Yep.